Hello, and welcome to the first debate of the 2012 election. My name is Matt Smith from CNN News. Tonight's debate is sponsored by the Committee of Time and Relative Dimensions in Space. Our audience is pledged to remain silent throughout today's debate. However, there is one exception, as we welcome the 2012 presidential candidates, President Kara Bamappo and Governor Tim Yenney. What do you think is the most important debate in American history? Tim, as you know, you won the coin flip and will be going first. You have 2 minutes.
Well, Matt, first I'd like to thank you and all the people in the audience who are watching this debate. I'd also like to thank my friend Kara here, as well as the Committee of Time and Relative Dimensions in Space for hosting this event. As for the question, the most important debate is without a doubt the Great Debate of 1960. As the first televised debate, it already holds an important place in American history, with 66 million people, 1/3 of the population at the time, watching the event. Because of the way he presented himself, John F. Kennedy was the clear winner, according to TV watchers. However, people listening to the radio believed a different story. They said that Nixon did better. In the end, the Great Debate of 1960 swayed the election in Kennedy's favor so much that none of the candidates of the next 16 years wanted to risk one.
Well, Matt, that is a great question, and I have just the answer to it. Why the most important debate is easily the Lincoln-Douglas debate of 1858. It began when Abraham Lincoln challenged Stephen Douglas to a series of debates. Douglas was at first opposed to the idea, but after some thought, he finally agreed. There was no moderators. The format was slightly different than those of today. To start it off, Douglas talked for 1 hour. Then Lincoln got 1.5 hours. After that, Douglas got a half an hour. This debate is the foundation of all debates. Without it, we wouldn't be...
Mr. President, I'm going to have to ask you to move on to the next question. What do you think is the importance of debates on the election?
Well, Matt, I think the debates are very important on the election. It gives the candidates a chance to give the people an idea of their plan to make America great. Remember, the 1960 debate swayed the election so much that no one wanted to do one for another 4 election cycles. I hope this debate sways the elections just as much as it did in 1960.
You know, I'm not a huge fan of debates. I mean, if you look at them throughout history, they never really had a big impact on the election. I mean, everyone already knows the candidates' views. It is true that the 1960 debate had a big impact, but it was just because it was the first televised debate. Today, debates aren't really a big deal.
Thanks for your answers. Okay, there's one last question. What gaffe influenced that year's election the most?
No, that's a great question. Now, there have been many gaffes throughout the history of debates. However, there's one that I think really stands out. It is when Gerald Ford talked about Soviet domination of Eastern Europe. He said, "There is no Soviet domination of Eastern Europe." This was a big deal at the time, and it pretty much lost the election for the previously favored Ford.
I think that Jimmy Carter's debate was by far the biggest debate gaffe. When asked about the biggest issue, Jimmy Carter replied that he had consulted with his daughter Amy, and she had said nuclear weapons. This didn't help him win the debate at all.
Thanks for coming. This concludes the first presidential debate of 2012. See you next time.